All right, good evening. I'd like to call to order open session at 7:03 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to ask our student board member to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we continue, I'd like to take a moment to honor the memory of Cameron Rowe, the assistant principal at John Glenn Middle School, who passed away in an unforeseeable tragedy this weekend. He will be deeply missed by his students and colleagues. Our thoughts and prayers are with his wife, Michelle, his family, and friends during this difficult time. Let us now observe a moment of silence in his memory. Thank you. Would also like to take the time to thank all of our staff and our crisis team for everything they did for our students and our staff this morning and this morning at John Glenn and all of our schools for our students and staff. Land acknowledgement, Ms. Porras.
We acknowledge that our district is on the ancestral land of the Cahuilla people, with whom we have a long-standing partnership. We are grateful for the opportunity to prepare future generations, teaching them to respect and contribute to their community, and to continue the stewardship exemplified by the Cahuilla people.
Roll call will reflect that all board members, as well as cabinet and superintendent, are present. We also have present our student board member, Edgar Magana, representing Indio High School. Dr. Mabelmer?
Yes, very excited to have Edgar with us this evening. This is his first night serving as a student board member. So as is our custom, we typically share a little bit about the students that will be joining us, and then we'll do the oath of office. So Edgar shares that his highlights of his educational experience at Desert Sands were joining the ASB in high school and getting the chance to attend some really amazing conferences. His hobbies are playing soccer, playing video games, cooking, and hanging out with his friends. His leadership experience in our schools and our community include being an ASB for 3 years, and then in middle school, he was a part of WEB, which is a welcoming committee for incoming sixth graders primarily, and then helping out in the community whenever possible. He volunteers in his school and in the community during the summer by going to local elementary schools and helping to build gardens for their after-school programs. And when we asked him something interesting he would like to share about himself, he said, "I work at Starbucks, and I personally love that you work at a place that has coffee, so I think we're going to be good friends." If you'll join me down front, we'll do the oath of office.
Approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 4th, 2025?
So moved, Porras.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Board meeting addenda, Dr. May Volmar.
Yes, just a notification. We inadvertently uploaded the wrong attachment on item number 22. There are hard copies available this evening that are corrected if you would like to look at those, and they're out on the table in the lobby, correct? Oh, and Blanche has some right over here if you don't want to walk out there. Thank you.
Approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda of the regular meeting of February 18th, 2025?
So moved, Duran.
Is there a second?
Second, that Magaña.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. Preferential vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0 with one preferential vote. Community staff student recognition, Dr. May Volmar.
Yes, I'd like to invite Tamara Watkins, our Public Information Officer, up to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to members of the school board, the cabinet, colleagues, and of course, our honored guests who are here with us tonight. It's my pleasure to present La Quinta High School's Cheryl Schuler tonight, who has been selected as a History Social Science Educator of Excellence for the 2024-2025 year by the Inland Empire Council for Social Studies. Cheryl's exceptional contributions to education have earned her this well-deserved recognition. Cheryl was actually nominated by Principal Greg O'Mara, and her outstanding work was recently celebrated at an annual awards program sponsored by the Riverside County Office of Education and the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools. Please join me in congratulating Cheryl Schuler for her dedication and excellence in the field of history, social science, education. Come up and get your certificate.
Cheryl, come on up.
Congratulations. And next, I'd like to welcome Dr. Dan Borgen, the Director of Personnel and Leadership Development, to present our Employees of the Month. Dr. Borgen.
Thank you, Tamara. Good evening, board and cabinet. Again, I get the privilege of recognizing 3 outstanding Desert Sands team members as our Employees of the Month for February. Our first recognition is our Classified Employee of the Month, Cynthia Gonzalez. Cynthia is a board-certified behavior analyst, and for student support services, you get a box with a gift and a beautiful certificate. Stay here, I'm going to say some things about you. Since joining the Desert Sands team, Cynthia quickly sought ways to learn about the unique needs of students and staff in Desert Sands and work collaboratively with team members from various departments and find creative ways to provide support. She has worked collaboratively on multiple occasions with Desert Sands MTSS team to co-develop and co-lead trainings and professional learning for teachers and administrators. Even though her background is in behavior, Cynthia takes the extra step to ensure that her support and training is both practical and usable for teachers and also designed to support the whole child. Because she wants the support she provides to be actionable to teachers and align with district initiatives, Cynthia immerses herself in learning opportunities. For example, Cynthia has engaged in professional learning around MTSS at all tier levels to strengthen her conversations with her school sites. She also doesn't shy away from co-planning and co-presenting with other Desert Sands staff members for both educational services and student support services. Cynthia absolutely embodies our DSUSD values, especially when it comes to service, inclusion, equity, and excellence. Desert Sands staff and students are very blessed to have Cynthia as a leader in this district. Congratulations, Cynthia. our February Certificated Employee of the Month, Greg Kraus, auto mechanics teacher, Amistad. Mr. Greg Kraus is being recognized as Certificate Employee of the Month for his unwavering dedication to inspiring the next generation of automotive technicians and his commitment to the Amistad school community. Leaving behind a successful career in the automotive service industry, Greg brought his experience and passion to the classroom, transforming the Amistad CTE auto program into the premier program in the Valley. Under his leadership, the program has earned multiple industry recognitions and high praise from Amistad's partner, the College of the Desert. Greg's hands-on approach provides students with real-world challenges, fosters resilience, and critical thinking as they work through problems. Beyond the classroom, Greg serves as Amistad's WASC co-chair, sits on the CTE advisory board, and is an active member of both the School Site Council and Curriculum Council. He continually seeks to improve his training and education, even dedicating his summers to learning in the shop along industry partners, as all while being a PhD candidate. Greg's tireless efforts to support students and staff, his commitment to lifelong learning, and his leadership across multiple platforms exemplify what it means to go above and beyond every single day. Congratulations, Greg. There you go. And finally, our Management Employee of the Month, Assistant Principal at Page Middle School, Brooke Triplett. Brooke Triplett is an exceptional leader whose commitment to excellence makes her a truly deserving recipient of the Management Employee of the Month recognition. She is a highly effective communicator, fostering strong, trust-based relationships with students, staff, families, and the broader school community. Brooke ensures that every stakeholder feels valued, heard, and supported, reinforcing a culture of collaboration and inclusivity. Her dedication to developing and maintaining organized, systems-oriented processes has significantly improved the efficiency of the Page School campus. She approaches the challenges with a solutions-oriented mindset, streamlining procedures, and implementing structures that support both staff and students. Maybe you should read this for me. Beyond her professional skills, Brooke leads with compassion and vision, making her an integral part of Page Middle School's culture. She is deeply invested in the well-being of the students and staff, going above and beyond to ensure they feel supported and empowered. A key driver of innovation, Brooke has played a pivotal role in the Reimagine project at Page Middle School, contributing her expertise and leadership to shape a more dynamic and student-centered learning environment. Her ability to inspire, organize, and implement meaningful change is a testament to her dedication to our school's future. Brooke embodies what it means to lead with heart, integrity, and purpose, and we are all grateful for the impact she makes every day. Congratulations, Brooke. Thank you.
Can't get used to these things. All right, thank you so much to Dr. Borgen. Congratulations to all of our honorees. We'll be hearing remarks from the board and the superintendent, of course, and then once we've concluded with that, you can all meet me in the lobby and we'll take a quick little photo op. Thank you.
Introduction and new recently promoted employees, we have none. Board and superintendent comments, Mr. Magana.
Congratulations to Cheryl Schicker and all the employees of the month, Cynthia Gonzalez, Greg Krause, and Brooke Tripley.
Pierce?
Yes, I think I heard it was the Inland Empire Social Studies. I don't remember the whole title, but that you're an expert and you have a lot of experience with social sciences and history. I didn't know it, but thank you for the teaching that you do to the students and the sharing of that knowledge. And thank you to the 3 employees, Classified Certificate in Management, and congratulations on being chosen for going above and beyond and doing the best you can for students. Thank you.
Mr. Alvarez?
And Brooke, thank you for being great at what you do and having a smile on your face and being positive for the changes and change in climate and culture that's going on there and the rebranding. It's wonderful to see. Thank you.
Do we have a score yet for the La Quinta match at 5:30? Okay. Well, effort is certainly worth noting, and just proud that we're actually in the competition. So kudos to La Quinta High School for that. Definitely want to welcome Edgar. So welcome, Edgar, to the dais. Good to have you here, sir. I want to actually congratulate our teams who are going through negotiations as we move through the process for our CSEA. We're thankful for the efforts on both ends, and we're still continuing with the process. But I did just want to note the positive feedback we're hearing from both classified and certificated, and it's all due to a mutual effort in working through that. So thank you guys for those things. Just want to, I know we had a moment of silence, but really thank you to our teams who are going above and beyond. It seems like we've had something going on all the time lately, and it's not only being mindful of the families who are going through these instances, but also the teams who are caring for them. And there are many on our crisis team that definitely deserve acknowledgement for what they're having to go through so often. And I just want to make sure that we note them and keep them in our prayers as we go through these unforeseen circumstances. I wanted to congratulate Ms. Schuler for her awesomeness, for being who you are. And, teachers are always those in the forefront of what we're doing. So thank you for all your teachings. And congratulations to the employees of the month. We have Cynthia, Greg, and Brooke. And, it's can't be done without the collective efforts of every one of you guys and the teams you're supporting. So I just want to acknowledge you guys for those things. And, we're coming up to this kind of long pass. It's going to be between now and spring break, so it's going to be a long ride. And, keep up that perseverance as we work through it. And just want to say thank you for your each and every one of your dedication as you come to school and put your best face forward for us. So thank you.
Horace?
Well, I want to welcome Edgar. Go Rajas. There's 3 Rajas up here on the board, and always appreciate the support. Derek, you're awesome that you're always here and supporting your students. And anyway, I always have to say that we're proud Rajas. So. And congratulations, Cheryl. Your awesomeness. I think that's, like what Pierce was saying. I can't remember exactly what the award was, but anyway, social studies, but thank you so much. And congratulations for that. Congratulations to our employees of the month. And I've been to Amistad Auto, and it is an amazing place, and you do an amazing job there. I'm always just like blown away by what you guys have there. So anyway, so keep up the great work. And I just want to say that I love how the schools are here supporting everybody. I think it's so great you guys have everybody here to support one another. And I just wanted to also say that Dr. Watson and I visited 3 schools this past week, Van Buren, Roosevelt, and Dr. Carrion, because we wanted to welcome the new principals and encourage them, and it was great to see each one of them. And we went to coffee with Kelly at Oliphant. And if you can ever go to one of those, it's awesome to go to, and you get to meet, we get to see the parents and the students are always so cute with their little backpacks and everything coming in for donuts and bundles. So anyway, that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Porras. I'd just like to wish everybody, first off, a happy belated Valentine's Day, and I hope it was a special day for each and every one of you. And I'd like to also commend each and every one of you for spending the evening to come out here, and I know many times it's part of your duties, but it's also part of your, I think, your community commitment to our students and our faculties and staffs that work so diligently all year long. Again, I'd like to echo the sentiments of my colleagues with Greg Krause and Cindy Gonzalez and Brooke Triplett. Great job. I know you'll continue to shine in your endeavors as the school year progresses towards our celebration in June when everybody moves up a grade. And about the last thing I'd like to really push, I pushed it earlier in the fall, I'll do it again in the spring. I think I want to make it sort of a commitment that the fact that you're here shows your commitment, but let's get friends and family out. We heard today one of our water polo teams there at La Quinta High was happy to go there and take a look at the game before we had to report here. But sports oftentimes, I mean, you don't have to get a StubHub ticket or a geek seat, right? Go out, go cheer the teams on. I coach a sport, swimming and water polo. I really enjoy it. I think it's so good. I used to do it even when I didn't coach. It's a good time. I've known Mr. Lawson here forever. There's nothing funner than going to a basketball game, a football game, a soccer match. We have all these events about to come. The weather's going to be nice in the spring. So grab some friends, go out, and let's cheer our students on, especially our student athletes that really go a little beyond the call of duty to be the best that they can be. So again, thank you everybody for coming out this evening. And for those of you that received an award, I can see Ms. Triplett there looking diligently. I think I lost Mr. Krause somewhere in there, and the Gonzalez. But again, congratulations on your awards.
Congratulations, Ms. Schuler, and to our employees of the month. I also want to thank personnel and Dr. Borgen for starting this program because I think it's important to acknowledge the employees, and I think sometimes personnel gets a little bit of a bad rap, and so the fact that you're doing something positive is a good thing. I want to always thank the colleagues and the families that are here supporting them as well, and that just represents the good that you're doing. I want to reiterate and thank the crisis team for all that they do. And like Mr. Alvarez said, it's been a rough couple weeks, and they've put their heart and soul into doing things for our kids and our staff. And I want to remind our staff and our students that losing somebody is hard, and we don't have to do it alone. And Ms. Fisher has a great team, and they're there for us. And whether it's just someone to talk to or someone to sit with, and you have that on the back of your ID, and they're always there to support you. So don't feel like you have to do it alone. Dr. Mabel-Moore.
Thank you for that reminder for the request for assistance on the back of the ID. I think that's a really, really great reminder. And I just want to echo everyone shared about the crisis team and the other staff that showed up to help, and certainly such deep appreciation for them. But I also just want to give a virtual hug and a shout out to the staff at John Glenn. It's hard to go through grief, just period. It's very hard to set that grief aside and take care of the students that are in front of you and the staff that's around you. And I know that each and every one of them was doing that today. And so just my deepest appreciation for all of them and what they were doing. And definitely, Mr. Alvarez mentioned it, it's a long stretch, but certainly take care of each other, look out for each other. Certainly important to do during this time. I also want to congratulate all of our employees of the month. Congratulations to all of you. And I want to say that the high school teacher that I learned the most from is Cheryl Schuler. Interesting because she was never my high school teacher. But she was my children's high school teacher. And the things I learned, because they would come home, and if you have children that come home, and sit around the dinner table and you say, "What happened in school today?" And they say, "Nothing." That was never the case when they were in Cheryl's class. they were always oozing with what they learned. So congratulations, very, very well deserved. Happy to see you getting that recognition.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to give everyone that came for recognition the opportunity to go and celebrate with your family and friends, unless you're staying for the remainder of the meeting, and to have your picture taken outside. So isn't that part of the public hearing? Okay, yeah, okay, so. Public comments on open session items. Communications from the floor in accordance with the bylaws of the board, number 9323. Time is reserved for oral communication by members of the Board of Education or by citizens. Citizens wishing to be heard on agenda items, regular special meetings, and or non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board, regular meetings only, shall have a 3-minute limit. A total of 20 minutes will be reserved for public comment on each item. The board president, with concurrence of the board, may extend this time if deemed appropriate due to the number of citizens who wish to speak on an item. In accordance with the law, the board cannot take action on any matter not appearing on the agenda, as indicated in the bylaws of the board, number 9232.2. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda, regular or special meeting, or non-agenda item, regular meeting. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. Please be advised that there is a possibility that some items discussed during public comment will not be developmentally appropriate for minors. We ask that parents use discretion when choosing to remain in the boardroom during public comments. If you choose to leave the room, you may wait in the overflow location at the end of the hallway, and you will be notified when public comments have concluded. There are no online public comments. John Parker.
Good evening, long time no see. Hope you're all doing well. I'm here to address agenda item 25-7. I read the overview of the curriculum, or the program rather. And, you know, one of the things that I've always tried to bring up is the whole idea of dividing the races. You know, there's a big, has been for quite some time, a big push to divide races, to divide people. And I think that, you know, when we look at our founding and the founding documents, if we really taught that as it was intended, I don't believe that we'd have the division that we have. And so anything that, you know, singles out a group of people or a couple of groups of people and not others, then that's dividing the races, which I think this is doing. Now, that said, it's a $30,000 contract, you know, not the end of the world when you look at your overall budget. But what it does, in my mind, what I think is, well, what else is there? You know, not just in that contract, but what other contracts are, you know, leaning in that direction or directly dividing, you know, teaching the children that, you know, the races need to be divided, the genders and so on and so forth, or whatever gender. And So I'm encouraging you not to renew that contract, is sort of the bottom line there. Another thing that I had brought up numerous times before, and I'm going to run out of time, of course, is funding. And I had mentioned to you a few years ago that, yes, you are going to have a difficult time with funding. That's coming. Now, it didn't happen the last few years because the Congress, both federal and state, went crazy and spent a whole ton of money and got a lot of money, flushed a lot of money into the system. But what that did is it put us deeper in debt, and it added to the inflation. The federal and state spending have caused the inflation that we're experiencing now. Unfortunately, it's not going to go away, but your budgets are. So I would recommend planning accordingly. And then one last thing would be under the reading the room category. Riverside County is a red county. I'm an election officer. We did, in Riverside County, vote for Trump, vote for Steve Garvey. You might not have, you might not like him, that's beside the point. So what I'm encouraging you to do is get on with the president's program, start to look at these different programs that you have, the DEI programs and the CRT, and I know the names have changed and they're not identified as such necessarily, but in listening to what I listened to tonight, they're using the language of the DEI and the CRT and everything else, and all that needs to go away because it divides people. Thank you.
Kenneth Snell.
This is not going to fit. Hear me okay? All right. Esteemed members of the board and learned administration, I thank you for being here tonight. The few faces have changed since I've been here last. A few remain the same. I think one of you asked me for my endorsement at one point in time for your run for the board. One of you, I believe I had your daughters in my class as a student. I don't remember her name. I want to say Erica. I just remember she was a swimmer and a very pleasant kid. So I hope your family's doing well, sir. I'm here to talk about item 25.7, TA Learning Services contract. You previously have awarded this person 2 contracts, I believe, to work with Colonel Mitchell Page School and Thomas Jefferson School. Besides this person being a board member of the Namery District, which I'm wondering if that raises any ethical concerns because he started both a nonprofit and a business after he became a board member. But this person for TA Learning Services, I'm just going to give you the facts, and you can believe what you want. If you want to see the proof to all this, I encourage you to read the article in the California Globe. Just go to californiaglobe.com. You'll see Desert Sands right there in the title. Everything's very sourced. Make sure you click on the links. TA Learning Services has no web pages. There's no description of services. There's no proof that his program has performed his objectives of raising academic achievement, which should be your only concern there. He uses curriculum from the NCN, which is another nonprofit, big nonprofit. If you go to that website, you'll see that website is full of diversity, equity, inclusion, and gender ideology, things that are now against the law, against federal law. It even makes up a new term called heterosexism. Have you ever heard of that one? Look it up. This violates the Department of Education Civil Rights Letter, which I'm sure you're all familiar of. It gives you 14 days to rid yourselves of all DEI programs before you potentially lose federal funding. I know that's about $19 million, if I'm correct, this year, about 5% of your budget. I think it was a little over 10 last year. So $19 million, a lot of money. But it's not just TA Learning Service you have to be concerned with. You also have Solution Tree that's going to go. That's a DEI NGO. Your Innovative Schools, which is sponsored by Digital Promise, another NGO full of DEI, is going to need to go. You have a lot that needs to go. I can help you with that. I've documented, I've archived web pages and everything. So if you need some help, let me know. Your deadline for this is February 28th. I know certain organizations like the ASA and CBSA are advising you to ignore, delay, and survive. But I ask you, did they guarantee you money if they're wrong? So I hope you think about this. If you need some help in identifying those things, let me know. By the way, this is 192 gender support plans that you guys did between the years of 2016 and 2022. 192 kids. Thank you, sir.
Arlene Wolgmuth. Dory O'Toole.
It is a pleasure here tonight to be not considered a domestic terrorist as an interested consumer and taxpayer. There's a new sheriff in town. It's not to see that there's not a sheriff in this room. That warms my heart and shows me that we're making progress. I'm here tonight to ask you not to vote on 25.7. I don't usually read from my notes. However, I tried to send emails today and I was having technical difficulties. My email was not, my server was not working. So it's a pleasure to pony off of Kenny Snell, who's done much of the research, and I don't think I have much more to add. However, I am asking you not to vote on 20.5.7. I wonder if all of you have read the contract for Mr. Arendos. Have you looked into his personal CV? Have you so much as evaluated your return on investment of previous contracts, which is what most business people do? I'm concerned that Mr. O'Mara has supported this conflict of interest, which to me is very obvious. How does a trustee come to another school district and ask to have a contract? Is that not a conflict of interest? In my business world, it is. How do you stay objective? You don't. You're all in bed together, and it feeds each other. That's the way it works. If you're honest and you work in a world of business. This is a business. Education is a business. Obviously, the budgets reflect a business. And I take it very seriously. I'm a taxpayer. I have no skin in the game. I have no kids here. But it very much concerns me that a man who supports certain ideologies will be teaching boys, not girls. He has chosen, or his contract reads, boys. Why is that? In the world that is leaving DEI, thankfully, how is not diversity, equity, and inclusion involved relative to why aren't women or girls part of his program? Suspicious in my world. Because if you're going to do diversity, equity, and inclusion, or more importantly, you're going to treat people as equals, why aren't girls part of his program? I wonder very seriously why that is. And I ask you all to ask that question. And I truly hope you will look at his contract, you will call your conscience into order, and you will not vote for this contract to be renewed. Bad enough it was done the first time. I hope it will not be done the second time. $30,000 is not a lot of money. It's principle and it's integrity. And I hope you all will call to your integrity. Thank you.
Information. 1, Palm Desert Charter Middle School varsity color guard participation in the Winter Guard International Phoenix Regional in Buckeye, Arizona from March 1st to 2nd, 2025. And 2, La Quinta High School's Globetrotter Club Educational First Tour to the European Carousel from July 8th to 22nd, 2025. Staff conference items, Dr. May Volmar.
Yes, I will turn it over to Dr. Wood.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to invite Gabby Yamas, our Local Control and Accountability Plan Coordinator, to provide our mid-year LCAP report.
Good evening, trustees, cabinet members, Dr. May Volmer. I'm excited to share with you the LCAP mid-year report and give you an update on how our district is doing with our goals. There's a lot to celebrate, and I'm looking forward to highlighting some of the great work happening in our district, as well as how we are doing with our expenditures year to date. As we dive into the update, it's important to remember that the work in our LCAP is guided by our district's mission, vision, and values, as well as the board priorities set forth by you, our school board. Now, for your reference, it's important to remember that the work in our LCAP is now, for your reference, you each have a hard copy of our LCAP. With that in mind, let's take a look at the 3 LCAP goals that we're focusing on this evening. In addition to these goals, the LCAP also outlines our equity multiplier goals. Specifically, goals 4 and 5 apply to Summit, Horizon, and Amistad, while goal 6 applies to Madison Elementary. And it's worth noting that the community engagement and actions related to these goals are carried out at the individual schools. We've included their budgets and expenditures year to date in the separate handout that we provided to you tonight. Many educational partners play a role in shaping the actions in the LCAP process. Recently, we completed our formal community engagement with the LCAP Advisory Committee and our Joint Parent Committee. We will continue to attend parent meetings such as DLAC and APAC to gather further input from our parent groups. Student voice has always played a critical role in our LCAP process, and we held our first session of Youth Leadership Days in January, where high school and middle school student representatives were provided with an opportunity to express their perspectives and other meaningful input into the LCAP process. We are still collecting student input through empathy interviews and surveys, and we believe that student voice is critical in guiding our continued efforts to promote equity and opportunity in education. Our district uses thought exchange as one of the ways we collect feedback from all of our educational partners. To illustrate this slide shows the number of participants in each of our community surveys this year. On average, we had 2,641 participants in our surveys, which highlights the level of engagement from our community. Now that we've covered the importance of community engagement in this process, let's take a closer look at the progress of our LCAP actions. While providing this mid-year report, it's important to note that some LCAP actions have not yet started, most are in progress, and others have already been completed. I'll show the progress on the spending allocation for each action, and at the end of each goal section, I'll share highlights about the work happening within each of our LCAP goals. Starting with LCAP 1, here are the 10 action areas in this goal. And here are the expenditures for Goal 1. Action 1-1D is an office specialist position that has been hired. It had previously been encumbered under different funding. This has been corrected, and we'll see it reflected in our end-of-year report. 1-1E, DSLA, stands for Desert Sands Leadership Academy, which is underway. And at the time of this report, our district had not yet received the invoice for this service. We expect to have this spent by the end of the year. 1-2C, there are no expenses for special education professional development since the training is conducted internally by Student Support Services, and we document all services provided by our district, even if they don't result in costs, as long as they align with our LCAP goals. 1-3A, our LCAP also reflects other forms of funding, and in this case, lottery money is also used to purchase instructional materials, which is why the mid-year report reflects a higher expenditure than was originally allocated. 1-5D is a software license for math, and we expect that this allocation will be spent by the end of the year. 1-7B and 1-7C are parent engagement allocations, which reflect a zero expenditure because they are actions funded through title grant money. 1-10E, English learner supports. This action includes salaries, and one position was filled later than expected. The budget estimate for the position was based on anticipated cost, but the hired individual's higher experience and/or education led to a higher salary, causing a budget overage. Here are some quick highlights under Goal 1. Professional development focused on building capacity with project facilitators and instructional coaches in the standards for mathematical practices, so they could support school teams with strategies that foster critical thinking, problem solving, and data-driven assessment. Training for elementary emphasized foundational routines, and in secondary, they focused on mathematical practices and math discourse. In early literacy, we have finished training third grade teachers with the foundational planners, and they are implementing them in the classroom. At mid-year, we are seeing a 23% growth in reading accuracy for our third grade students. Data warehouse training sessions and individualized meetings have focused on data access, report customization, and education support. Usage statistics show its growing importance with 4,000 dashboard views per month and 2,000 unique users in the past 90 days, proving that it's an indispensable tool for our educators. In special education, project facilitators provided targeted professional development during site-based coaching in which they engaged with 25 new teachers on a weekly basis. Inclusion specialists, special education coordinators, and program specialists provided 20 professional development opportunities supporting universal design for learning strategies. And 5 sessions of PIQUE, which stands for Parent Institute for Quality Education, have taken place this year throughout our district. In the last round, Dr. Carrion, 48 parents were supported in completing this program. We have 4 action areas in Goal 2. Here are our expenditures year to date for Goal 2. 2-1F is a license that our district will cancel, so allocation will not be used. A better method has been found to provide the same support. 2-3B and 2-3E are actions that take place at the end of the year, and we do expect that the allocations will be used. 2-4H, this is an action for our graduating seniors that takes place at the end of the year, and we expect that it will be spent. 2-4J is an action that does not incur a cost for our district. In Goal 2, we want to begin by highlighting 2 of our mentoring programs. The Gents Alliance program has 111 young men, with 83.7 of them on track or close to meeting the A through G requirements with a 2.5 GPA. 175 young women are involved in the Ophelia Project, with 54.9 of them on track or nearing the A through G requirements with a 2.5 GPA. These programs are empowering students to reach their full potential and achieve academic success. The AVID program continues to grow in our district, with Hoover Elementary added as an AVID school. La Quinta High School now qualifies as a demo school due to its outstanding student results. And La Quinta High School is training their 10 special ed teachers and 12 paraprofessionals on AVID so that special ed students who take the study skills elective can also benefit from integrated AVID strategies. And we are very proud that 4 of our cosmetology students have taken the board exams and earned their license in cosmetology. There are 11 more students undergoing the licensing process. And this speaks to the effectiveness of the preparation that they undergo in the CTE program. The CTE program helps them develop interpersonal skills, problem-solving abilities, and professionalism. And all of these are qualities that can benefit our students in any career they choose to pursue. Goal 3 has 9 action areas. And here are the expenditures. 31C, this action supports extra duty for our school attendance leads. This action has started, and we do expect that more of this allocation will be used by the end of the year. 3-1D, professional development around school attendance is conducted internally and therefore does not incur a cost for our district. Similarly, 3-3C is also provided internally and does not have an expenditure. 3-4B, like other actions that we have seen this evening and that involve salaries, we are over budget, and this will be adjusted in our next plan. 3-5A and 5B, these are actions that support our safety plan but do not incur costs. And 3-5I, this is an action that is planned for later in the school year. 3-6A, this action reflects our district's commitment to clean and efficient environments. We include it as it supports actions 3-6B and 3-6C, even though those are funded through our base fund. 3-6A is the one funded through base fund. 3-8A through C are actions that support parent engagement, and they are conducted internally without cost to our district. And here are the highlights for Goal 3. We are proud to be extending the reach of the district's foster youth homeless liaisons through specialized training and directed activities with site-level staff at each school, resulting in increased services to our students and families experiencing homelessness. Our site attendance leads continue to support students to increase attendance and reduce chronic absenteeism, and this year's focus has been to conduct a root cause analysis at each school site to increase understanding of the underlying contributing factors to absenteeism. And since August of 2024, Student Assistance Program counselors have supported 207 students and their families facing hardship by assessing their immediate needs and providing essential resources. These resources may include gift cards, backpacks, school supplies, and hygiene items. Additionally, counselors have connected with community organizations to ensure access to long-term sustainable support. And as you can see, we are making significant strides towards achieving the goals set in our LCAP, and we will continue to progress monitor our actions for the remaining of the year to make any adjustments as needed. With your continued support and feedback, we will be able to further refine our approach and ensure that every student is given the tools they need to succeed. Thank you for your attention. your partnership, and your commitment to our school community.
Pierce, you have any questions?
I did have a question. So this was the report focused on 3 different goals, and then all 6 goals are in here with the expenditures. We just wanted to highlight some of the ones that with questions about when they're being spent or if they're being incorporated in another area.
That's correct.
So when you do this mid-year report, are you meeting with community and staff and so forth again in this next springtime again to do any adjustments or there's?
So we do continue to meet with parent groups. Last week I met with GLAC. We have plans to meet with APAC. As more input is gathered, we schedule more meetings with our parent groups as needed.
Well, thank you for the report. I appreciate the recap.
Thank you.
Alvarez?
I know that there's a lot for the budget goes, and I'm sure that school sites are always on top of this. But just encouraging sites to utilize this year's funds on this year's students as the deadlines start approaching, which brings the next question is, when is the deadline for sites to use up their funds? Yeah,
we can add that too.
Yeah.
I don't have anything, but a great report, and thank you. I know it takes a lot of hard work to do that, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, just one question on the professional development for counselors. If it's not whatever ready now at another time, but like, what does that entail? I'd maybe like a little, or maybe a little bit, if you could elaborate, whatever would work, you know.
I think we can send that information to you. Thank you.
Good. Thanks.
I can share a little bit. So a lot of it's internal. I mean, monthly, the counselors meet with, it's joint between student support services and educational services. On the educational side, we meet with the head counselors at the high schools once a month. Training, like take Panorama, for example, each year, we bring them in to coordinate time with them. We've partnered for probably almost a decade with RCOE on specific stuff. This year we don't have a specific contract with them. We still are partnering with them. We're kind of leveraging some other contracts we have that we're with APs, utilizing some of their support, but that's tied. Specifically, high school is typically around A through G and graduation and things of that nature, and middle school is typically more on like MTSS and social emotional, so those kind of areas.
So most of it is in-house. And so
most of it is in-house. Yeah.
It is, and we do the California state standards, the counselor state standards, California, and also bring in outside vendors that provide support so counselors can learn, share them with families, and part of the monthly counselor meetings too. So the professional development, as you were saying, is in-house with contracts with some, but primarily in-house.
I have nothing, thank you.
So a point for clarification on that one memo, just it's just for categorical and if there's going to be any rollover.
Typically allow 10% carryover for the unrestricted general fund for our school sites, and outside of that, depending on the categorical programs, there are different limitations to carry over.
Thank you.
Public hearing. On August 21st, 2024, the Desert Sands Unified School District formally received a charter petition to establish Altus Schools Coachella Valley Charter School. After public hearing and posting of the district staff report recommending denial on November 8, 2024, the petition was formally withdrawn by petitioner. On November 22, 2024, the petitioner resubmitted the petition with revisions. This petition proposes the renewal of a non-classroom-based charter school serving grades 7 through 12, known as Miras Secondary. The school is authorized by Hesperia Unified School District, but operates in the district's boundaries. The petition projects to enroll 185 pupils during its first year of operation and 205 pupils by its fifth year of operation. The school is a dashboard alternative status school, or DAS school, which means its academic performance is measured largely based upon criteria established by its current authorizer, Hesperia. In accordance with Education Code Section 47605, on January 21, 2025, the district timely held a public hearing on the provisions of the charter, at which time the district considered the level of support for the petition by teachers employed by the school district, other employees of the school district, and parents. The district is required to publish all staff recommendations, including the recommended findings regarding the petition, at least 15 days before the public hearing, at which the board will either grant or deny the charter. The district complied with this provision by publishing the staff report on its website on February 3, 2025. The district must either grant or deny the charter within 90 days of receipt of the petition. The board will act on the petition tonight. Petitioners shall have equivalent time and procedures to present evidence and testimony to respond to the staff recommendations and findings. The district staff shall have 10 minutes to present, followed by equal time for the petitioner to present. Following the presentation, the board may wish to ask questions of staff and/or petitioner. Any additional public comment will be taken after both the district and the petitioner have made their presentation. We will now ask staff to make their presentation. Laura?
Yes, I have Sue Ann Evans here, attorney with Dennis, Wolliver, and Kelly, who will be presenting our staff report.
Good evening, board president, trustees, and cabinet. I'm grateful that you're marking my time because, as you mentioned, we do have to give equal time, and I'm going to try really hard to get this in 10 minutes. Tonight, the board is being asked to decide whether to approve or deny the Altus Charter Coachella Valley petition.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt you? I don't see the timer. Is it running? It is running. Okay, I apologize. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. If the board approves the petition, it becomes the authorizer responsible for oversight of the charter school. If the board denies the charter petition, petitioner may appeal to the County Office of Education for authorization, and if not approved by the county, may then appeal to the State Board of Education. If the county approves the petition, on appeal, it will be the authorizer responsible for oversight of the school. District staff was tasked with reviewing the petition. The petition was carefully reviewed, and the staff report reflects the conclusions of the review team. The staff report, as mentioned, was timely posted on the website, and petitioner did take the opportunity to submit a response that we have reviewed. Should the board deny the petition tonight, the staff report may be adopted as the requisite findings in support of the denial. If the board were to approve the petition, there is no further approval that's required other than to set the term for the approved charter. Petitioner has asked the board to renew its charter, which is to be considered under the criteria set out under Education Code Section 47605. It is unusual for a board to consider renewal of a charter it did not originally authorize. Because it has not served as the authorizer, it has no history to draw from with regard to the charter school's operations or performance. So it is reliant on what is presented within the documents by the petitioner. It is also a bit confusing in that the existing school eligible to be renewed is the Miras Secondary School, which has been operating within this district's boundaries. As petitioner made clear in their response to the staff report, petitioner seeks to establish the ASCV requiring new DOS criteria, new accreditation, and approval of A through G courses. Now, while the establishment of charter schools is to be encouraged, a board must only approve a charter school if it is satisfied that granting the charter is consistent with sound educational practice and with the interests of the community in which the school is proposing to locate. Approval must also be consistent with law. The grounds for denial of a charter are set forth in section 47605. One is that the charter school presents an unsound educational program. 2, petitioners are demonstrably unlikely to successfully implement the program, that the petition does not include the requisite affirmations, or the petition does not contain reasonably comprehensive descriptions of all of the charter elements. These are the grounds that are available for denial on renewal. Here, the staff report concludes that petitioners are demonstrably unlikely to successfully implement the program, and the petition does not contain a reasonably comprehensive description of all the charter elements. The board has considerable discretion and is to use that discretion in evaluating the petition and whether the charter meets the criteria of section 47605. As mentioned, the charter was not originally approved by this board, but is authorized by Hesperia Unified School District located in San Bernardino County. MIRIS is a dashboard alternative status school, or DAS school, which means its academic performance is measured on criteria established between the authorizer, in this case Hesperia, and the charter school. Notably, not all DAS schools' performance is measured under the same criteria. It is not standardized, but instead individually determined between the school and the authorizer. According to the petition, MIRIS Secondary is a redirected program with average students stay between 12 and 18 months. The school states that since the Resource Center opened in Palm Desert, more than 275 unduplicated students have been redirected to the Desert Sands Unified District schools. This appears to be greatly overstated, as the district's records and the subsequent information from the charter school reflect that the number of students redirected to Desert Sands schools is less than 10 students. Now, the petition comes before this board under legislative amendment to the Education Code to address the fact that several school districts across the state approved charter schools to operate outside their own district boundaries. This was a significant problem and in some cases was designed to generate revenue. A lawsuit was filed and the courts determined that it is a violation of the Charter Schools Act to locate outside the boundaries of the authorizing district. Because so many schools were out of compliance, legislative amendments allowed these charter schools, to remain in their location until renewal. As a result of the pandemic, renewal dates were also extended. The staff report has detailed the reasoning supporting each proposed finding. Petitioner takes issue with the grounds identified for denial of the petition. However, petitioner's disagreement in and of itself does not mean the analysis does not state legitimate grounds for denial. It remains that the charter lacks clarity in the scope of the authorization it seeks. The consequences of authorizing a corporation with multiple schools is far different than authorizing a single school site. In fact, other charter schools operated by the corporation should not be included in this petition at all, nor should the corporation name be used interchangeably with the charter school seeking approval. It's these issues that have caused confusion as to the scope of the authorization. It also lacks clarity in the school or schools it seeks to renew, as the petitioner's response to the staff report refers to ASCV as separate from MIRIS, which is the school that is actually eligible for renewal under AB 1505 and AB 1507. Additionally, as fiscal deficiency is by far the most frequent reason for charter school failure, Budget analysis is key to determining whether the school is demonstrably likely to succeed. Here, there is no information to show that the projections of their enrollment in ADA to be reasonable, and history shows that the charter school has seen a decline in enrollment every year since 2022. The petition does not describe the DAS criteria for any of the schools, but contends at the same time that it outperforms other schools operating under what is likely different criteria, as again, DAS is not a standardized approach. And while petitioner argues it's very successful and outperforms other DAS schools, including this district's Summit and Amistad high schools, the dashboard graduation rates show the charter school was designated very low in graduation in 2022 and in red for both 2023 and 2024, whereas both Summit and Amistad outperformed the charter school in graduation rates, with Summit in green in 2023 and yellow in 2024. It's very impressive. This is particularly concerning for a school designed to assist students graduate. Petitioner concedes, again, that ASCV is a separate school from Myra Secondary, is not WASC accredited, and does not offer the full panoply of AP courses, or A through G. But the AP courses would be offered through partnerships that are not explained and do not include our local community colleges. In response to the staff report, petitioner states that ASCV seeks to extend the educational model established under MIRIS via the establishment of a continuing non-classroom-based charter school authorized by the district. And this is really critical because there is a moratorium on new charter, non-classroom-based charter schools. MIRIS, again, is the existing charter school that is eligible for renewal. So again, the confusion comes in under the connection between those two schools. Quoting petitioner, as such, the petition outlines ASCV's intent to seek DOS status, WASC accreditation, and approval of courses for A through G eligibility as a natural part of establishing operations for ASCV as a distinct charter school to be established consistent with AB 1505 and 1507. For the reasons discussed in the staff report and tonight in response to petitioner's submittal, the staff report concludes that it is in the best interest of students to deny the charter renewal petition, and staff recommends the denial of the petition and that the board adopt the staff report as the statement of findings in support of denial. And if you would note the extra time for petitioners. Thank you very much.
B. Rosenberg.
I'm sorry.
It's not.
You're going to do your presentation first, I believe, right? And then he's after that. Yeah, there.
Good evening, Dr. Mae Volmer, board members, district staff. You should have all received a detailed response to the district findings via email sent on Friday. So I'm just going to cover some discrepancies still that seem to be causing confusion just based on this previous presentation. First and foremost, MIRIS is part of the Hesperia Unified School District, and on February 3rd, MIRIS was approved unanimously for its third renewal term. So I don't understand why there's ambiguity about MIRIS being part of the district. MIRIS is not part of Desert Sands, nor is it part of this petition. This petition is for Altus Schools, Coachella Valley, and that is because of AB 1505 as a resource center that was already established under an existing charter school that had been approved. We are allowed to bring the charter petition for students that have been attending the charter school, and the charter school operates under DOS criteria that was agreed upon by Hesperia Unified School District. So first and foremost, there's a proven track record of success, compliance, and financial responsibility for Altus Schools Coachella Valley. Our educational program is designed specifically to meet the needs of students who may have fallen behind academically, ensuring that they have a pathway to graduation and future opportunities. The data presented in the petition is based upon the MOU criteria that is also listed in the petition, and 25 to 30% of the MOU criteria is dashboard data that is well established within the state of California for student academic progress. We use DOS because it allows us to have specialized metrics to measure the progress of students who require non-traditional support. We have consistently met the criteria under the current authorizer for this resource center, which was Hesperia Unified School District. And we continue to uphold these standards if authorized by Desert Sands Unified School District. And I'm glad that Ms. Evans pointed out that in the data comparisons, we do compare data with Amistad and Summit, both schools located within the Desert Sands Unified School District. So data in the petition does give a point of reference for your current schools in the district. Many of the students we serve have struggled academically in a traditional school setting, and Alta Schools Coachella Valley will provide the structure and support and academic rigor that they need. The school is definitely in the best interest of students. I'm here today to urge that you approve Alta Schools Coachella Valley. Additionally, Alta Schools Coachella Valley's financial plan is strong and transparent. The school undergoes independent financial audits, ensuring full accountability for how funds are used. Our budget is based upon realistic projections, and any concerns about fund transfers have been fully addressed in the letter that was sent to you, and we can show how all additional resources will directly benefit students that are under the academic care of Alta Schools Coachella Valley. Perhaps most importantly, Alta Schools Coachella Valley serves a high-risk student population, students who might otherwise be left without the support they need. Our data shows real, measurable progress, including increased graduation rates and reduced dropout rates. It's funny how on one instance she says data is not comparable across schools, but yet the graduation rate is comparable across all schools. So a little bit of conflicting reports from your legal counsel. These students deserve access to a school that understands their needs. It provides critical interventions and re-engages them in their education. And as you saw in the public hearing when we had our students here, they're taking community courses, community college courses, CTE courses, and they're graduating and going on to be successful post-high school. By approving the charter for Alta Schools Coachella Valley, the one resource center located within the district boundaries, you are making a statement that every student in the Desert Sands Unified School District matters, regardless of their academic history. You're giving students the opportunity to thrive in an environment built for their success. Alta Schools Coachella Valley has demonstrated its commitment to the educational excellence, legal compliance, and financial transparency that this charter petition shows is in the best interests of students and the greater Desert Sands Unified community. I urge you to vote in favor of this petition and ensure that Alta Schools Coachella Valley continues to serve the students who need it most. Thank you for your time this evening.
To 20. 20.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Lee Rosenberg, and I'm proud to be legal counsel for Alta Schools. It's really disheartening and disappointing to see a recommendation for denial that reflects so many glaring misstatements and mischaracterizations. It is evident that the petition review was a review in search of a denial. We must keep in mind that this decision impacts the educations of 150 students who currently attend a thriving resource center in this district. You should know that Mira's Charter School was just unanimously renewed on February 4th, and now Alta seeks approval for the Palm Desert Resource Center as a continuing charter school. Palm Desert Resource Center students are your neighbors. They are students who live here, and they choose Alta Schools because it uniquely meets their needs. The district owes it to the families of the district to respect their agency to choose to send their children to a school that best meets their needs. You heard from them at the public hearing when they asked you to allow them to continue their education with Altus schools. I would like to highlight in particular some of the most glaring issues in the presentation and the staff report. One, there is no ambiguity about what school is to be approved and governed by the petition. The petition is for the approval of a single school, Altus Schools Coachella Valley. Second, Palm Desert Resource Center has provided the full range of instructional services, special education programs, and MTSS since 2013, and Altus Schools and Coachella Valley would continue to do so. The notion that Altus Schools Coachella Valley lacks supports for students with disabilities is unfounded. Third, the presentation unfairly criticizes Altus Schools Coachella Valley for lacking WASC accreditation. But Altus Schools Coachella Valley has existed as a standalone school, has not existed as a standalone school. It has been a resource center of MIRIS, which has a 6-year WASC accreditation. Altus Schools Coachella Valley will seek WASC accreditation as a continuing charter school. Fourth, all of the assets of Palm Desert Resource Center will remain with Altus Schools Coachella Valley. Fixtures, fund balances, everything. Funding follows the students. 5, each charter school and resource center has its own budget, its own profit and loss statement. Funding is allocated to schools and resource centers that serve the students who attend those schools and resource centers, and separate records are maintained. There is no transfer of fund to the corporation away from the schools as the report alleges. Those issues have been addressed in our response. The board should take note of the fact that MIRIS has served students with excellence since 2007, and Palm Desert Resource Center has done the same since 2013. The staff report does not seriously dispute MIRIS's academic and non-academic performance. The notion that the denial of the petition is within the best interest of students, 150 students, is completely unfounded and unbecoming of the district. I ask that you follow the law and the facts and approve the charter petition for Altus Schools Coachella Valley. Thank you.
All right. You ready? General Functions Business Services. There's one item in General Functions Business Services. Is there a motion?
Move, Porras.
Is there a second?
Second, Duran.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. General Functions Educational Services. There are 4 items of General Functions Educational Services. Is there a motion to take them as a group or individually?
Approval, take them as a group.
Is there a second?
Second, Alvarez.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. General Functions Personnel Services. There are 2 items for General Functions Personnel Services. Is there a motion to take them as a group or individually?
Motion to take them as a group.
And is there a second?
Second, Porras.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. General Function Student Support Services. We have 1 item in General Function Student Support Services. Do we have a motion to approve or deny the Altus Charter School petition?
I'll move that we deny the Alta Charter School petition.
Is there a second?
Second, Alvarez.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. General Functions Superintendent. We have 1 item in General Functions Superintendent. Do we have a motion for the 6 candidates of the board should consider for the California School Boards Association Delegate Assembly Subregion 18A, Riverside County?
I make a motion that we cast our vote for the following candidates for CSBA delegates: Douglas Corona from Paris Elementary, Nancy Young from Murrieta Unified, Madonna Gurrell from Palm Springs Unified, Cleveland Johnson from Moreno Valley USD, David Sanchez, Beaumont USD, and Stephen Schwartz from Temecula Valley USD.
Is there a second?
Second, Duran.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Consent items, student matters. Dr. May Volmar.
Yes, tonight in closed session, the board took action to approve the following student matter: stipulated expulsion case number 24/25-21 on a motion made by Trustee Alvarez and seconded by Trustee Pierce. The motion carried 5-0 with the board accepting the recommendation.
Consent items, business services. There are 10 items in consent item business services. Is there a motion to take these as a group or individually?
Move to take them as a group, Porras.
Is there a second?
Second, Duran.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. 25, consent items, educational services. There are 17 items in consent items, educational services. Is there a motion to take these as a group or individually?
Move approval to take them as a group, Duran.
Is there a second?
Second, Porras.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Consent items, personnel services. There are none. Consent items, student support services. There are 5 items in consent items, student support services. Is there a motion to take these as a group or individually?
Take them as a group, Alvarez.
Is there a second?
Second, Duran.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Consent items, superintendent. There are none. Personnel action certificated. Dr. Hyde.
Good evening. I'm excited. We have a loan retirement to announce. In our certificated attachment, I'd like to recognize Catherine Emery for 20 years of service to the district. She's retiring from Washington Charter Elementary School.
Is there a motion?
Motion, Porras.
Is there a second?
Second, Alvarez.
Any discussion?
Congratulations, Kathy, for making it to the finish line. Enjoy your retirement.
Calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Personnel actions classified. Dr. Hyde.
No retirements to announce tonight.
Is there a motion?
Motion, Porras.
Is there a second?
Second, Alvarez.
Any discussion? Hearing none, calls for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Call out of closed session actions. Dr. May-Volmer.
Yes, tonight in closed session, the board took action to deny the appeal of the findings issued in a complaint filed by employee 21,000, passed on a motion made by Trustee Duran, seconded by Trustee Dr. Watson. The vote passed unanimously 5-0.
Suggestions for future agenda items that receive at least 3 votes. Ms. Pierce?
I have none.
Mr. Alvarez?
None.
Ms. Porras?
I have none.
Mr. Duran?
None.
And I have none. Announcements. The next regularly scheduled meeting in the Board of Education is March 4th, 2025 in the District Education Center Boardroom, 47950 Dune Palms Road, La Quinta, California. We do not need to reconvene to close session. This meeting is adjourned at 8:30 p.m.